There we go. You're live, Brock, to the world. What do you have to say for yourself?
Welcome to Real Fridays.
We're on time. I just want to point out, Rick is late, unreliable, could be anywhere in the world. We don't know.
He does share his location with us, but
oh yeah, true. Let's check.
But he could be anywhere in the world. That's true. He was telling me he was over 200 nights at Marriott properties this year.
Yeah, so he couldn't be anywhere in the world. It's anywhere in the country is really
Mooresville, North Carolina.
There you go. Now we've shared that. What do you got going on?
Not a same old. Not a lot. Not going too far for the holiday weekend. Just gonna stick around Boston. But been a busy week around here. What about with you?
Yeah, I feel like it has been busy. I assumed it would be slower with the holiday week coming up.
Right.
It really kind of wasn't.
So are we on?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, we already shared your location with the world.
You're not, but we're on.
I know, right? I'm trying to connect my camera to this. So keep talking, guys. Sorry about this. I have a technical challenge here, but I'm going to fix it while you guys.
When you gave me co-hosting responsibilities, I've taken that to mean I can start the show whenever I want.
Yes.
I haven't been granted that permission yet, but that's okay.
Yes, you do. You have all the credentials.
I don't want it.
You have to log in as Rick. That's the
catch. Not my burden.
You have all the credentials. So sorry about that, guys. I was on the phone with Steve Majerus at Synergy One, and we were talking about my post this morning, and so anyway, so Steve is doing such a great job at Synergy One. He's one of the fastest growing mortgage companies in the country, and so we were just talking about how you have to ground strategy and data, right? People always, it's almost like, people will build tech to build tech, but they don't really understand how they're going to use the tech to grow specific business objectives. And it's the same thing with growing companies. It's like people just want to grow, and it's like, and they want to hustle and go out and get the growth. And it's like, well, what's the methodology? Like, why are you starting where you're starting, and how are you going about that process to achieve the goal that you're aiming to achieve? I get the goal, but let's forget about the goal. Let's like if you tell me your process, I'll tell you what you're going to achieve at the end of the day, because good process will yield good results, but people always start with the results, and they get muddled into the execution. And so it was a good conversation.
I always think of it as what Bob Walters used to say at Rocket: the system will produce the results it's built to produce. So if you're not getting the output you want, look at how you built the process or how you built the thing, because it is producing the results it's built to produce. And
that's right.
It's always reminded me to go back and go, okay, we're getting this output. Let's figure out why, if we don't like it. And to your point, if the output is, I want to grow, well, the very first question is, what do you mean? Profitability? Profitability doesn't always mean volume. You can do less volume and be profitable. Is it just volume, and why? Because volume equals recruiting, and then recruiting equals profitability? Because sometimes like all those questions would play into that. I don't have to go through it, but yeah.
No, you're right, man. It's the one point you just made is an interesting one, because I spend so much time. I just was listening to a motorcycle drive by. I spend so much time on production volume and scale. Is there, and this is an interesting question, is there room for a boutique mortgage lender that isn't necessarily ambitious to scale? The ambition isn't to scale, it's just profitability. So is there a room for a high margin, low volume mortgage play?
Yeah. So like, I'll give you an example, like a fully digital mortgage company in Orange County. You could imagine if you just specialized in one of the top 10 markets, you did it fully digital, and you only put it out to people in that market you knew were digital natives or whatever, people that preferred that, you would need what? Rick, you probably know. You'd need 30 people, maybe 40. And you could do incredible margin and profitability off of just that. And that's it, right? I don't know if I think it's probably more likely to do it as a broker than a lender, but I'm offering one option as an independent mortgage company you could do. But I think that's how you'd have to do it.
I did a post about the. Someone's at my door. Hold on. I'll tell you about my post in a second.
This is exciting. Cliffhanger, Brock. It's a cliffhanger. We don't know what he posted, although it's probably public and everyone already knows.
Apologies to our listeners. Rick's
I would say
really not respecting everyone's time on this Friday.
I would say apologies to everybody who read the post, because now we're going to talk about a post that everybody already read. I mean, I don't follow Rick, so I don't know. Maybe I should become a follower on LinkedIn of Rick.
Yeah, I saw he has 20,000 something LinkedIn followers, so I removed myself just to keep him grounded. Yeah,
just to keep him grounded. Yeah, let's keep him humble.
Yeah,
he's the most followed mortgage blog on LinkedIn with a PhD. That's what I would say, probably.
Yeah, that's likely true. Is there like a? There's got to be like a REALFridays. There's got to be like an economist from like.
True. Good point. Does Mark Zandy have his PhD? Probably does. Does Darren Blomquist have his PhD?
Most
Probably
of the
does.
rocket data science people don't, I don't think.
No, huh?
Masters.
I wonder if Daryl Fairweather does, because she's at Redfin and now she's at Rocket. So Daryl is the chief economist at Redfin, and I think she has her PhD. So, all right. So Rock's
second
most, maybe third.
Yeah, Rick's got second most then probably.
Yeah, I've been following Daryl Fairweather for some time, and she just wrote a book, which I've yet to read. I downloaded on Audible. I don't know about you, but my Audible list is about as long as the stack of books by my bedside. I just don't.
I'm terrible at audiobooks.
Really?
I had a membership to Audible for 5 years, and I have you get a free book every month. So I've done it. I've listened to like 5 of them. I read a lot, but I don't Audible a lot.
Yeah.
So that was Costco. Costco came to the door a little bit late. So this episode is brought to you by Costco. Thank you very much, Costco, for being one of the best, home delivery services for food and anything else you might need. But yeah, sorry for the interruption.
Right there, at risk of disruption by AI from Amazon.
Well, that's what I was. I did a post a few weeks ago that created some controversy. AI is considered sort of the company amplifier, right? And the projection that Elon has spoken about is that there will be one day the one person unicorn type company, that has just automated everything around that individual through AI. And as a result has been able to achieve scale in ways that you typically needed thousands of employees to accomplish. And so I postulated the idea of saying, like, well, what about the one licensed loan officer, like the $1 billion originator, like the Shant with no really back office support? It's all driven by AI, your LOAs, your processing, your underwriting, your closing, your funding, your loan delivery, your plugins to investors. I mean, it's not all that far-fetched to consider that, to be able to leverage AI for client acquisition.
I think what I heard is that Fannie and Freddie's AUS is not far enough along to actually make that a reality. And the reason I'm saying that is often when you submit, even if you get all data, which is still not totally common. When I say common, I mean like more than 75% of loan applications. It might be like 51%, but it's probably not even that when you go all Fannie Freddie originators, even if you get all data. But regardless, you submit something to AUS, it's going to spit back random shit that sometimes is just a quality control to make sure that the underwriter and the originator are paying attention. And sometimes it's an actual valid condition that's necessary for the eligibility or the approval. That element of uncertainty, that element of like reactive versus proactive underwriting is almost always going to require a couple of people who aren't the LO to have to deal and juggle with the random stuff that comes out of AUS, even when you have like a perfect underwrite. That's what I've heard. Now, I'm admitting that's secondhand information, but I think it's pretty accurate that AUS is not always dialed in to be specifically just the conditions necessary to get an approval. Sometimes it's quality control. Sometimes it's other things, redundancy, to make sure the file's fully documented. And when that happens, everything goes sideways. Now you're down in the weeds, reaching out to the consumer for a one-off thing that you didn't expect to meet or need because it wasn't on the last 8 that you did, but all of a sudden it is. And my understanding is that is holding us back from a truly lean, mean, like sales and marketing straight into AUS, straight into closing process.
That's interesting. You know, I hope we don't have to. I wonder how the innovation of Fannie and Freddie might accelerate or be hindered based on them going private, or really going private public versus public private. You know what I mean? You know, being spun off.
Hindered. I can't imagine it's going to be hindered anymore. Like,
yeah. You know. Well, right. So I guess the question would be whether or not the ankle weights that are currently on the organization, will those be removed?
It seems likely. Seems likely that private shareholders of a more public nature, when I say that, to be clear what I'm talking about, I'm not mixing up terms here. There are already private shareholders, right? They're just subservient to the preferred. And so bringing in them, elevating or bringing in more would almost certainly necessitate more differentiation, competition, and innovation within the space. I think we're already starting to see it a little bit, even prior to the IPO. And so I think it would. I think it would probably generate some, like, can we do this differently? Can we do this differently? Also, I don't want to totally rail on the GSEs. Like, they are trying pilots. There are, you know, single source verification pilots in play happening. They're just really tightly controlled and really small.
Yeah. What got out of pilot?
It's a good thing. Yeah.
What's gotten out of pilot that's exciting, Jeremy? I think would be the pertinent question. I know there's been pilots for a long time on all that.
Yeah, man, asset verification. So day one certainty using asset verification through Platter Finicity got out of pilot. Like, that's a good example.
That's a good one.
They are doing some refi appraisal, modernization, certification type things out of pilot. And I don't think anything on the title side is out of quote unquote pilot, but it's made it pretty far. Meaning, if you want to participate, there's a path to participate in title alternatives. So I think appraisal, title, and asset verification are probably the farthest along of the 3 most recently. Then I'm trying to think of what else.
I mean, you could argue that's a pretty good portfolio of pilots.
That's what I mean. It's not nothing. It's not nothing. We could go farther, faster, but it's not nothing.
Now, did Crib did they end up getting into a pilot?
No, I don't think so yet. Not yet. That was a Freddie Mac thing. And if anybody from Freddie Mac's listening, like, it's a really good idea.
Yeah.
Shared equity as a down payment.
Crib equity.
Shared equity as a down payment alternative to 2 things. It's an alternative to your parents' money and a gift letter, which we know is used all the time. And this is essentially the same, but with more de-risking and more private capital. 2, it acts to remove PMI. Because if you get a shared equity investment, you can get to 80 LTV. And if you get to 80 LTV, you have private capital offsetting the risk, similar to how PMI offsets the risk above 80. So those are the 2 reasons Freddie Mac should do the pilot, but they're not yet.
Yeah. No, I've not been as active in my communications with Sky, but I've been meaning to call him because they just announced their more recent partnership with Jason, right? Or with what's his name out in Arizona? Not Jason. Why am I drawing a blank? The top producer, real estate agent.
Jason Mitchell.
Yeah, Jason Mitchell. So I know I got that email saying that Crib Equity was announcing a relationship with Jason Mitchell, and in that it was something that I think is going to help in any real estate agent or any agent's sort of array of options for consumers to more affordably afford, to better afford or make it more likely to afford a down payment on a house by having that shared equity opportunity in partnership with Crib Equity. So I think Crib is a great consumer tool that every consumer should really know about and should be asking the real estate agent about.
Yeah, one of the things I learned in the innovation space in this industry is like it has to fit in the process. It has to fit in the way the waterfall or the sales process works today. And the thing I like about Crib Equity is that every real estate agent asks the same question at some point. And that is, where are we on financing? How much do we have to put down? And they want to know, like, have you already found a pre-approval or a verified approval? Or are you still looking for one? And what are we dealing with in terms of cash for a down payment, right? Those are the two questions. Well, Crib Equity solves one, if not both of those. What are we doing for down payment? Where's this cash coming? What do you got in your account? Well, I've got this in my account and I have Crib Equity giving me the other half. Like, it fits in the industry's pre-existing scripts, pre-existing relationships. So for loan officers, it gives you something new to talk about. You're constantly looking for, what do I tell my real estate agents that's new, different? How am I staying ahead of my competition? What is in my portfolio that I can talk about? This is perfect. Go to them and say, hey, we got a new down payment solution. So as you're talking to your clients, when you're walking through the house, where's the cash coming from? If you find a client who's short, doesn't have a rich uncle or whatever, add this to your checklist. I think that's a pretty clean path to getting into the usual script.
Yeah. I mean, that's a huge portion of the type of stuff we talk about with lenders. And Jason and his team are really good at being early adopters. They were a partner at EasyKnock of mine. That was really good. And then he does the lender partnerships too, that like is sort of in the same vein of Newsit, but with his core team mostly. That's only in certain markets. So we actually, occasionally work with them too. But that's a cool idea to see it at the network level and rolled out that way. There's been a lot of partnerships announced that haven't turned into a lot of deals historically in these kind of spaces. And EasyKnock, and after EasyKnock acquired Ribbon, while I was there, was one of the sort of groups that announced a lot of partnerships that didn't turn into a lot of deals. So I'm kind of like always a little touchy about that. But I think that it's exactly the right way to position it, Jeremy, is like get the bells and whistles available, be able to, it's still your core mortgage process. It's still your core real estate process. You just have more, you have like more tools at your deal desk, right? If you need to kill contingencies, there's the products like Orchard. Newzip gets a lot of leads from Orchard that are like buy before you sell now. Or like Calc, our friend Dean Carberry runs partnerships for them now. We're trying to figure out the right way to work with them in our agent network with the buy before you sell contingency killer leads, where they need realtors on either end, have a lender in the middle. Anyway, give Jason and Sky a shout out. They're both great industry partnership folks.
And for mortgage sales folks listening or marketing folks listening, it's a non-agency purchase product. So it goes to your kind of prime credit non-agency purchase. So a lot of times that can be a real complement to a non-agency offering, because you got your prime jumbo, of course, which is non-agency. And then you've got other non-agency stuff, which may tend to be cash flow related or DSCR or whatever. This is like a first-time home buyer non-agency option. I love that. These are prime credit customers. So I think it works nicely into your execution as well.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely, a cheerleader for Sky, as a leader and a figure in the business, but also the product. I think it's been a very innovative product. He's been at it for a couple of years, and I love giving him shout outs and helping him try to get adoption, because I think it's a product. It's a great product. We should have him back. I think that's great, because I think there's a lot for him to talk about as far as updates. So
he's going to be on a panel. He's going to be at a panel at IMN's Home Equity Conference in Austin in 2 weeks. So if anybody's attending that, home equity conference down in Austin. IMN does it. I think it's September 8th and 9th. Look for Sky. He'll be on stage on Tuesday. I'll be on stage on Monday, but I'm not pitching myself here. I'm pitching Sky. I wasn't going to do this, but I kind of want to pitch Brock on something in real time. Can I do that?
Sure.
This is refi leads for NewZip. So I know we're always talking about.
Okay, I was wondering what hat I'm wearing. Okay.
Yeah, that's what hat you're wearing. We're always talking about purchase leads, and I've been really impressed with the progress there. But I was wondering, is there an appetite for refi leads, or should I talk to Will at ONA? But for NewZip, title verification startup can tell you every solar panel lead. Let's just use that there's a bunch of other examples too, but I'll use the solar panel one as an example. So title verification of a solar panel lien in the last, call it 3 years, maybe 5. Those are potential cash out refi leads with Fannie and Freddie's solar panel refi product, meaning you get out from under that lien, you put it into your 30-year cash out, you pay off the lien, and then you just have one loan.
You have a $20,000 lien from 3 years ago. Now you have the equity to roll that into your core loan. Yeah.
And the timing's right relative to how long that lien's been around and how much equity you have and where rates are going. In the next quarter, you could actually do some real volume as a lender in the fourth quarter on solar panel refi leads. And this startup could do like 3 different states for you, producing a list of every homeowner with that lien and the amount in the last 5 years.
Yeah, and those implementations are what, like $20,000 to $50,000 usually? Is that the right ballpark?
I suppose it probably depends on what, but yeah, I think that's about right. I'll ask and find out. I don't have that.
Well, at some point, if it's like too small, it's not worth, rejiggering
doing a whole loan about it.
Or if it's too big, you may not have enough equity in this market. Curious about the technicals, but okay. So do you have access to such a partner that's looking to do business development with strategic partners, or?
Yeah.
Okay. And for NewZip, there really isn't a buy transaction, but we do have lenders with lead appetite. We do have partners with lead appetite.
Well,
we do aggregate and incubate such conversations well. Is that what you're thinking?
They know you as aggregating and incubating purchase leads pretty much along the same lines as this, but this would be like, hey, now we're offering like an a la carte refi lead if you want it with our purchase, but just to do more for our top partners.
Yeah.
Especially since you have strength in the call center model as well.
Yeah, we do. Yeah. But literally all of our lenders have bigger refi groups than purchase groups. So, yep.
Cool. All right.
Look at that.
We're doing deals.
It reached the point of the Shark Tank pitch that it's like, all right, let's talk about it, not on camera.
Great.
Sounds good.
All right. What do you got, Rick? What are we doing here? Let's do some deals.
What are you pitching for NewZip?
I have 0 for NewZip today. I'm always pitching. I'm always pitching something for NewZip. Every time we have a partner on the show, I'm like a surrogate business development guy working for Brock. So
that's right.
So I do think
you're not following my scripts perfectly, but yeah, the reach is good.
I'm not very good at following scripts. I'm with you. That's kind of a general habit of mine. But no, look, I'm trying to think of like what else. Obviously rates have moderated, a bit. So there's a bit of an improvement there. Most mortgage companies that are waiting to service are really waiting for rates to get down to about 6.25 to 6 1/8. Then I think you'll see a lot of lenders getting back into the servicing game. But there is a fair amount of trepidation around doing that, just because these Rocket and UWM and other Freedom they're just so good now. Their call centers are becoming so good that there's a tremendous amount of fear around servicing, knowing that how do you value it? They call it turns. Like how many turns on a loan can you anticipate? In other words, like if you feel like you're going to have that loan on your books for 40, generally like a single conforming loan, just for your education, you can estimate that servicing value to be around 25 basis points. It's pretty much flat. If you feel as though that you can keep that for 4 years, you can forecast that revenue on your books times 4. Okay. And of course there's past data that kind of underpins that. But if you have, billions and billions in production, volume in servicing, and you're making 20 million, 30 million, $40 million a month in servicing revenue, then being able to sort of take that and anticipate a 4x return on that, knowing that you're probably either going to sell it or it's going to end up getting picked off by a competing servicer, that's pretty valuable for your books, right? So, so companies are really nervous around what that retention rate is going to be on a serviced loan by service loan basis. Which is why you're seeing a lot of people who are companies who are Fannie, Freddie, Ginnie, but they're kind of retreating away from servicing because they just don't have the staff, the consumer direct staff. Now that could be an interesting opportunity. Looping back to Brock's company, because you're all about creating stickiness between the consumer, the lender, and the realtor.
That's right.
If you get, for those, there's a lot of servicers out there that genuinely are not very good at retention. So being able to create that glue between the servicer and the consumer may not be a bad extension of what
that's a huge portion of what we're working on. I mean, with some of our biggest partners have pushed us in that direction naturally. So we've, it's nice to have someone to build it for and to collaborate with. But even just for NewsZip's like independent roadmap, a lot of it is around leveraging real estate data, likelihood, affinity data, likelihood to close data, things like that, for servicing clients, or even for banks, banks and credit unions that want to do it for their members. I think with the trigger lead bill progress that's happened in the last few weeks, the servicing rights and even the bank relationship lifetime values, I'm assuming will be going up quite a bit because, originators without either a bank relationship or a servicing relationship are going to have a lot harder time getting triggers to reach out to clients that are shopping. So I've been coaching my team at NewsZip. We've hired a lot of people that are from the industry, but we've hired a lot of people that are not from the industry, being that we're, under the hood, really a tech startup. So I've been sharing a lot of updates on what the trigger lead changes mean to a company like us, and more importantly to companies like the 40 lender partners we have, which are a mix of credit unions, banks, IMBs without servicing, IMBs with servicing. So it's been cool to think about, and I think you're right, Rick, that there's a lot of attention to how to make more money on your ecosystem with purchase retention or whatever it might be. Obviously, refi retention, HELOC retention of the existing book. So always open to more ideas on what else we can power for people in that space.
When you see these lenders doing servicing, Rick, are you seeing that it's a step-by-step process? First, I'm going to retain it and subservice it, and then eventually I'm going to take it over? Or are you saying once they decide to, it really is subserviced or not is a secondary question, I guess? Meaning, is it a two-step?
It's a huge effort. I think the subservicing route is what most of them go, what most of them sort of pursue.
That's what you were referring to, was like, I'm going to keep it, but I'm not actually going to service it myself.
Well, they do that out of fear, but the problem is most subservicers are pretty terrible at ensuring that the runoff doesn't occur. And some subservicers assist with that, while other lenders, maybe have you subservice it, but then they have a consumer direct team that supports that, those loans that are in portfolio. I think the problem is most are pretty terrible at it, and as a result, they're worried for good reason. And I just think that you either have to invest in it and get really good at it and get really serious at it and hire real talent to ensure that you're really good at it, or you partner it out with somebody who's really good at it. And so I think that to me is where it would be a pretty compelling offering for a company like Brock's to be able to provide that kind of stickiness. Because then because typically in a servicing relationship, if the servicing value is 25 basis points, 15 or 18 of that might go to the actual originator, the actual investor on the loan, and then the subservicer might get 5 or 10 basis points or whatever the case may be. This is an opportunity where a company like Brock's could pick up an extra 3 basis points or 7 basis points on volume that you're helping to retain, and then as a result, then it's a scale game. Then if you get 5 or 10 billion, that you're sort of the hen on all the eggs. You're making sure that all those mortgages are kind of remain and stick. And the way I would structure this with Brock as a lender servicer would be to say like, hey, I'll give you 5 basis points to do it, and then for everyone we lose, you're going to owe us, or vice versa. Or maybe I'll give you 3, and for everyone that we keep, we hit certain retention metrics, then we bonus a company like Brock's New Zip out. So
yeah,
there's a real opportunity there because everyone's pretty bad at it, and there's a few companies that are phenomenal at it, which is what's creating a lot of panic across the servicing community.
Yeah,
Well,
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering if that was my strong suit. So if I'm a digital lender or just a tech-enabled lender that got really good at it,
Yep.
Rocket, Freedom, whomever, wouldn't I start doing it for other people too? Right? Wouldn't I start saying to the big funds, not for the smaller IMBs that you're talking about, but for like the big buyers of those funds, the big investors, I'll just go, I think they're going to see, if they haven't already, the Rockets, the Freedoms, going to them and saying, I'll do it for you. I'm good at it. So let me do it and you'll get the servicing back. And it's more of like, I don't know, it's like retention as a service, honestly.
Yeah. I love that idea.
I mean, I'm sure that's what's going on, but.
Well, I was reading about the Housing Wire's reporting on the Cooper Rocket deal, and they said that one of the guardrails they're putting up is that no entity can have over 20% of basically MSRs in the country, I think is how I read it. And if you count the subservicing that Cooper does, I guess, I don't think Rocket really does subservicing, do they, Jeremy?
Not, they do in the sense of like the retention play I'm talking about, which is like, buy our prime jumbo and we'll service it for you. That kind of thing. Keep going.
Yeah. So I guess they do from like the wholesale side effectively, but yeah. So between those two, like if you count the subservicing, they actually may be upwards of 20% of all servicing. So, I mean, that's a call to arms to everyone else, isn't it? Like, you got one entity that owns 1 out of every 5 loans at least. It's not all owned. I guess I'm using the wrong operative word, but controlled.
Touches maybe is the.
Yeah.
I just think it's funny how these rules get made, like how arbitrary it is. Like it's 20% just because this deal was close to that. Like show me the data science that says there's systemic risk above 20. I just don't buy it. If there's a better mousetrap, there's a better mousetrap. Like look, servicing, the way that I used to talk about it with the GSEs is like, why should one house next to another house be serviced differently just based on where their loan ended up? The servicing rule should be consistent. The servicing rule should be consistent. So like if an entity figured it out.
Not my area of expertise, but easy to agree with you.
If an entity figured it out and has a better mousetrap, like 21% introduces systemic risk, what risk? 22%, 23, 30? What are we talking about? Can you collect payments and can you pay escrows? I understand the competitive risk of like, well, if they're servicing
or is it not about this deal and they're discouraging like other super acquirers?
Sure.
Yeah.
They don't want Coke and Pepsi, I guess, when it comes to servicing because of, I guess, the origination competitive landscape. But like, okay, so we're not going to save money now because we need it to be fragmented? Like, what are we talking about? Like, the only people that benefit from a 20% cap is ICE.
That's interesting. Yeah. I have nothing to comment on that, actually, to be honest with you.
I think, yeah. We'll
Segment over. Segment over. Now we're on to our third segment.
What's the subservicing play at Mr. Cooper? I don't know what Michael's referring to. I know that prior to leaving cross country did a big deal with Mr. Cooper to subservice a lot of their volume.
Yeah.
So
yeah, they subservice a lot of people.
And then they had a massive, client retention team under James Berger, who's probably one of the best in the business at it. So I'm not sure what he means by what the subservicing play on Mr. Cooper is, but it sounds like a smart question. So the conference-wise, New England conference is coming up. You and I are going to be at that, Brock. Jeremy, I wasn't sure if you had changed your mind to attend. Are you going to be able to attend or no?
I am going to be in Boston for part of the Mortgage Collaboratives event right before that. Unfortunately, and it pains me to say this, but I can't make it to Newport this year for some prior obligations at the Blueprint Conference. So I will not be at any NBC, but everyone should go for Wednesday's Tech Day. It's a brand new rollout this year with NBC. I think it's going to be pretty cool. So basically 9:30 in the morning till 4. User groups for Encompass, user groups for Optimal Blue, hearing from CEOs, chief revenue officers. We were just talking a lot about servicing. Courtney Thompson from CMG, who's one of the leading experts on servicing nationwide, will be there. On the origination side, you've got lenders like Prosperity and others who will be there on that tech day. There's going to be some demos. So I think you're going to see a different type of NBC day there. And then you get to stick around for Thursday and Friday with Bob Broekschmidt, Fannie and Freddie will be there, and the lenders, the typical CEO lenders and capital markets folks from across New England. So NBC is a great event, especially for anyone doing business in New England.
Yeah.
Sorry to miss it, but yeah, you guys should rock and roll, and everyone should try to be there on Wednesday.
I'll get to see both of you guys in Boston / New England that week, just separate times. Got it.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to see you next week, Brock. We're going to get together and have beers and just talk about, maybe we can loop Michael in. We'll what we should do is go to Michael's house. We should go to Michael's house about midnight, 1 o'clock, and just knock on his door, knock on his window, kind of just peek through his bay window. That guy calls me at 1 a.m. all the time. And
I think you answered Michael Kelleher to avoid the confusion of Michael Zhao being our most engaged listener today. Thanks, Zhao. Kelleher's 1 a.m. times are not something I answer, but I like talking to him. I just want to keep it between the navigational beacons of like 8 and 8. Even I go till 10 p.m. with him, but you never know what he's going to be saying at midnight.
That's where I learn the most. I think
that's true. Yeah, that's the other way to look at it.
I think it's called Ding Dong Dash, isn't it? Or what do the kids call it? I don't know. I'm sounding like a really old dad right now, so I'm gonna shut up. But
I think you just yell at him to get off your lawn, right?
Yeah. So yes, go ring his bell and run. He's a trainer.
So PMT, New England. I know you're speaking of the HELOC conference next week. I'm speaking of the IMN conference in October, the AI conference in Dana Point in October, obviously the MBA conference. Any other conferences that we should be looking at? You don't go to the broker conference or anything, Brock, do NAM or anything like that? Because I don't. I haven't in years, but
I've been to AIM before, but not recently. I believe I'm going to be going to ACUMA, the credit union conference. It's in Denver in September. We get to see a bunch of our credit union partners and like channel partners that we share with credit unions, which is fun. But yeah, I have a similar list. I'm a maybe for NAM because it's right before MBA annual, so we'll already be in Vegas. So that's kind of cool. But and then we're doing a few like smaller things. The Lending Tree Summit is one of our favorite ones. Very consumer direct specialized, more private conference. And I think that's it on my list right now. Although I've got a bunch of maybes, so let me know what else you guys end up going to.
All right.
Good time to get back out on the road.
Sounds like a plan.
Well, good. Well, I know next Friday we have Homebot, the CEO and founder of Homebot, on.
Yes.
I'll send a note off to Sky to see if we can get him on our show.
Let's do it.
And we got to get some more people because I like getting some thought leaders on the show. There wasn't a ton to talk about this week, other than just much of the same news headlines and there really wasn't too many news headlines that were all that. I think it was just quiet.
I have a fun stat that came out this week. Or you go first. You seem excited.
No, I was specifically going to not bring something up, but Rick is glossing over mortgage fraud as apparently the most insidious threat to the American homeowner of all time. Occupancy. Yeah. We had no idea that occupancy fraud was a mistake that friggin' everybody makes everywhere.
It can look. So honestly,
I'm not getting into it with you. I'm not.
As a non-lender, I can understand why you'd look at fraud so casually, but as a lender, we look at fraud seriously. And occupancy fraud is there's investor risk with occupancy fraud.
Use all the talking points. It's been a known.
There's two talking points. There's actual buyback risk for occupancy fraud.
It's been known forever, and there are myriad ways to solve for it, and nobody's ever done those. Nobody's ever done them. And he's not recommending any solutions either, is he? What's the solutions he's recommending? There's like 17 solutions out there if you really were sincere about solving for it. So what are the solutions, Rick? What is he recommending for solutions?
Wait, who's he?
Who do you think? Pulte.
Oh, Pulte. I thought you were trying to bait me into a Trump thing.
No, Trump doesn't.
I haven't heard any official statements from Pulte as far as how to solve that problem. I know there are solutions and services and ways to verify it.
There's plenty of solutions.
Yeah.
We just implement them. Just implement them. We have plenty.
Yeah. Or actually make some kind of mandatory requirement. FHFA can certainly levy that by way of a random audit or whatever.
My point is that it won't happen. That's all.
Why do you think it won't happen?
Because they're not. He's not interested in actual solutions, because that's not useful on Twitter. That's why. Yeah. I want to see real solutions. I'm here for the innovation. That's why I reacted the way I did. I'm not saying fraud's not an issue.
Yeah.
I'm saying it's solvable. Listen, wire fraud.
Yeah.
Wire fraud is solvable. Guess who's not solving it? Lenders and title agents. Like, it's all solvable. We have fintech tools.
Are we sure the risk profile is so different between a vacation home and a primary home as well?
Because the industry has said time and time again, the industry has said it's too painful and expensive. We know the solutions are out there. We just don't use them. But we don't want to. It's a whole nother step. It's a whole nother pain in the ass. So we don't do it. There are technology solutions for every single one of these issues, including wire fraud. And we don't make agents use portals. We don't make customers use portals. We let people use whatever email address they want. We let everybody use Gmail address. So whether it's wire fraud, occupancy fraud, a myriad of other quality control and fraud issues, we have companies wanting to do it. We have solutions out there. This industry has always said it's too hard, it's too expensive. We don't want to raise the cost right now. And all I'm saying is I'd like to see a tweet about the 7 solutions that exist that lenders and the GSEs and other loan investors should adopt, because they exist. They're there. Ask any quality control person.
If I were on the leadership of the RNC, I would be telling the Republicans to have everyone do an audit as to what they did on their mortgage applications. Because I think in 2 years, 2 or 3 years, when and if the Democrats take the White House, I have a feeling that there's going to be a massive sort of
suddenly some
massive screen to see like who lied on their mortgage application on their first, second, or their primary or secondary home.
Maybe they just checked the wrong box. Yeah.
Presque Isle is my primary, I promise.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, look, I get properties in
between the New York City taxes and the Boston.
I think Rick's a little nervous. Rick has 5 primary residences right now, and he's starting to get a little hot under the collar, being like, "Hey, don't look over here."
Hey, I have 1 primary, and that's in North Carolina.
What about it? What's in Mass and Vermont then?
Those are second homes.
Second homes and investment properties. Those are the kids' college funds.
I don't even know why people, because you can have the rates on second homes and primaries are pretty much the same. So I don't know why
that's kind of what I was alluding to.
Well,
like, this isn't like quite this.
When
like
you run for office,
that's what Brock was saying. Like,
yeah, I'm like, is the risk profile so different for everyone? Whether it's your
even if you do the math,
or your first home that you can afford.
This is how you mostly know that it's an administrative oversight in a lot of cases, is you're talking about 20 to 50 basis points tops, usually, maybe even less, depending on the deal that day. So yeah, man, anyway, I think we covered it. Actually, that was a pretty good, quick synopsis, to be honest. Like, but yeah, even if
got to bring a little politics into it. It's good.
Yeah.
All right, you guys ready for my fun stat?
Yeah, your stat. Tell us.
Okay, so throughout history of the United States of America and every other country, new homes have always been more expensive than existing homes. Look at any of the data. July, one of the first times ever, the median existing home sold for $422,000, and the median new construction home sold for $404,000. So almost what is that? 5% price difference. The median existing home was about 5% more expensive than the median new construction home.
Man,
that has virtually never happened, but fits in Potter's talking points of building cheap housing. So I figured I'd give him a softball.
Yeah. And by the way, the word is attainable housing. It's not cheaper. It's higher quality and it's sustainable. It's affordable and attainable. And it's not cheaper.
I don't know if it's sustainable, attainable, or sustainable.
I'm saying sustainable. Here's why I'm saying that.
Okay.
When you build to a standard, not a bespoke custom home, when you build to standards, it's easier to replace those standards because products and other component parts are available. So for instance, like one of the reasons that you can see mechanics who specialize in Subaru or mechanics who specialize in GM, because auto parts are uniform. When one breaks, you order the part, you put it in. In houses, you got to get your guy to come over, take a look at it, see what the guy before him did, do this like nonsense, and it's very expensive. So what I'm saying is like sustainable in the sense that they're more energy efficient, and to replace things, repair things, or keep them up, repairmen walk in and they know what they're looking at because the house has actually been produced in a way that has a product catalog and it has actually some standards and productization to it. So that's what I mean when I say
sustainable.
Yeah.
The
I
Sears,
think they're also
Sears Roebuck catalog house. Yeah.
I think they're going to be more energy efficient also, but that's not the biggest piece. I think the biggest piece is just like, I know what I'm looking at. I know how to fix it. It's more efficient to fix a house when you can just order a part versus when you have to get a guy. Like I live in a 100-year-old house in Detroit. It's impossible to get somebody to come in and do something because they don't know what they're looking at. It's historic. Yeah. It's got these issues. Like that's not that's not a first time. That's not a starter home.
We don't even know what the foundation is or what.
We need starter homes. The starter home is dead. We need to revive it.
So the other thing I thought was interesting here. So let's just say it's not exactly right, but let's say for July sold homes, median existing homes were 5% more expensive than median new homes. So the other thing that happened was that builders cut prices by a little over 5%. So they're starting at the same price. Builders.
Yeah, that was my takeaway with that. The builders.
Yeah. I don't know that it's all sunshine and rainbows that everyone's building sustainable, affordable housing. I think it's that builders are getting saddled, built the way they always built and are having to cut prices. But
yeah, no, I agree with you. The 404,000 is still not the home that we need.
Yeah,
it shows a trend, it shows a flip, but it's still not the.
This is slightly different data, but kind of completes the thought. 37% of these homes reduced asking price by an average of 5%, and 66% of
existing
homes listed by builders offered sales incentives. So, I mean, probably more like 10% if you count the incentives. You've seen those crazy incentives from builder financing or whatever else. So. Anyway, I thought that was interesting. It's a huge talking point for our business. We help a ton of consumer direct, digital mortgage companies help first-time home buyers. Who are we competing with? Builders, usually, in a lot of communities. So that's like one of the day-to-day competitions we see every day. So we monitor that closely.
Yeah, right on. Also, I hope that incentivizes builders to build even more efficiently in certain areas and get that price down even more. I think a lot of times it feels to me like we underestimate demand. I think because we're looking at a price point that is beyond where demand is.
Yeah, people aren't even applying because they know they can't afford it, whatever.
Yeah,
People aren't
exactly.
even searching because they know it's not there.
Yeah. So if you bring some volume at a certain price point to market, we're actually going to see that. That's where you always hear me talking about, this is where the mortgage industry could come in. Start showing how many pre-approvals you have in your area. I would love
and buy side MLS.
Yeah, exactly.
That'd be cool. I mean, I've seen some attempts to build that. There was a company called Buy Side about 2018 or 2019 that branded themselves as building the MLS for buyers. I thought that was genius. I think they pivoted the company a couple times to a different business model, but it's a cool idea, aspirational.
Yeah. Well, a fun conversation as always. We're all over the place, and it's the best part of our conversations. Nicely done. That's a really good stat.
Yeah. It's a really weird stat, but
it is. Yeah. It makes you think.
You got to wonder whether or not how a lender assesses risk should be moved or at least factor in the property type. Like as far as like factor in whether it's a manufactured home or whether it's like, there's got to be some way of being able to split or make homes on the lower end more affordable where they're not accessible to investors. Like there's just a prohibition, like investors can't, because part of what I think what there's a combination of factors that I think that drives the lack of affordability. Obviously, foreign buyers is one, investors is two. Like maybe there's a prohibition on whether or not if you own more than one home, then you're not eligible to even own a home within the community or whatever the case may be. It just seems like a lot of homes are getting taken, off the market that otherwise could be on the market for the right consumer or the right buyer.
Yeah, I've worked on some research on this. This would be really interesting for you to think about, Rick, which is how do you make a rule that doesn't result in cash buyers like investors just paying more and pushing home values higher? So for instance, if you say that there's like a penalty at a certain amount for investors that pay this, or if like, for instance, like 10% penalty to sell your home, a primary occupancy home, to an investor, they'll just pay that 10% penalty and the cost of the home will just go up by whatever the penalty is for selling it. So then if you make the rule, they can't bid on a home or they can't own more than a number of homes, you just see them spin up 7 different LLCs and buy to the max, right? Like it's not, there has to be a rule that does what we're trying to do without sort of putting upward pressure on home prices.
It's not an easy solution. People think it is, but
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's not, but just something to think about. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. It's a good, I mean, listen, politicians and public policy, housing policy wants a solution. Like if somebody came up with that, there is an appetite for it. People are wondering, you wouldn't see so many Wall Street Journal headlines on Wall Street's buying your house or investors are coming to your neighborhood if there wasn't an appetite for that drama, if there wasn't an appetite for that controversy. The numbers don't even bear out that that's the right thing to focus on. So, Wall Street doesn't actually own that many houses relative to like what is perceived, but it's still worth focusing on.
The problem is it's a micro versus macro problem. Like foreign buyers, I think is a big problem. It represents like 3% of all purchases. So the macro season, it's not. But if you go to different counties or zip codes and you actually see where a lot of the foreign buyers are happening, it ends up creating a lot of price pressures in those locations. And I think that's where it deserves a lot more attention. Greg Sherrod did a post on that, which I thought was a decent post. That was not just general or topical. It actually had some substance to it, and it focused around the foreign buyer problem, and he got jumped on by a lot of typical figures in the industry saying it's not an issue. It represents a small number of the overall, purchases in the country. And while true, I do think that it's a problem more in specific locations in South Florida and otherwise.
Well, yeah, that's how I read the post too, which is while the math might not be at the point where we need to panic, the resulting question that Greg asked was the right one, which is like, how do we craft the policy now to address this before we get to panic levels? What if based on these numbers, what if it keeps going up and to the right? What are we going to do? We're going to try to figure it out then. We should figure it out now. So I interpreted Greg's thing to be like, let's figure it out while we can. There should be a rule here. There isn't. And I don't know that we need regulation. That's not what I'm saying. But I do think it's a valid question to say, like, do we care? How much do we care? And what are we planning to do about it? We have to get, and again, I've said this a bunch of times. The solution could be home ownership is no longer wealth creation for Gen Z. That might be a policy position. I don't like it. It's not good for the industry, but that is the reality. Somebody could say that. And that might happen anyway if we don't do anything. So to me, those are the advocacy questions that MBA and NAR and others could be working on, which is like, is home ownership still wealth creation for future generations? If the answer is yes, how are we going to figure it out? If the answer is like, wait longer and work harder, we're going to watch those people leave the potential home buyer market. And the best, what do we always do? We change the metrics. So when we didn't like the unemployment numbers, we just decided not counting people who stopped looking for a job after 5 months or 6 months. And they're no longer counted in the unemployment numbers because they stopped looking. So our unemployment numbers look good, but only because we're not counting everyone who gave up. It's going to be the same.
Labor force participation numbers. Yeah.
It's going to be the same in housing. We're just going to stop counting people if they gave up. And we're going to be like, oh, we don't have a housing shortage anymore because we only have this many shoppers. But we only have this many shoppers because everybody else gave up. Like, we can't.
Here's the analysis we should do for the next show. Well, the next show, we're going to give the mic to Ernie. One of the next shows is map the purchase pre-approvals versus the inventory. See how close they are.
Yeah.
Because there's, they're both growing, right? There's more purchase applications and there's more inventory, but there's not really more deals. So why?
Where does the pre-approval verified approval data live though? You know what I mean? Like, we don't actually know how many pre-approval verified approvals are walking around every day, but that's a fascinating number. I don't know if that's like an MBA survey or a Strathmore survey, but like, yeah, agreed. I mean, I think
is the median application 200K and the median home 440K, or what did I just say, 422K? Yeah.
Or what's the buying power of the mortgage industry right now? Like, what does our buying power represent? And then start to tell the real estate community and the builder community, we have, I mean, I don't even know what it would be, but billions, if not trillions of dollars of available buying power. What are you guys going to do about it? Hey, real estate. Hey, builders.
What are you going to do about it? So hard to have their own funnel. Maybe the wrong leads are getting in the wrong funnel. Yeah.
Or something. But
builders must have leads of clients that would qualify for existing homes and the opposite, right? So,
yeah.
Interesting.
Well, one thing I want to bring your attention to, guys, is that I've been saving every one of our episodes in my Google Drive. And so I want you guys to know that you have access to that Google Drive. And what I'm beginning to do is I'm using Opus Clips to carve up segments. It's a slow and painful process, but I'm going back through all of our old episodes and trying to create nuggets of good segments from it. And then I'll create these like 60-second reels similar to what you've seen recently that I've done with you, Jeremy. And I'll try to create some that feature you, feature Brock, and of course a lot.
You're telling me all the nonsense I say all the time is going to come back to haunt me? Great. I'm in.
Oh, I know, right? I wondered that because as I'm repurposing some of these, I'm saying to myself, like, I wonder if we should have told the people that we actually interviewed that this could be a potential implication of them being on the show.
I think everybody knows my intentions are in the right place and that I have this like passion for innovation and change and moving everybody forward. So hopefully these 90 seconds come with that benefit of the doubt and context. But I appreciate it. It's good to know.
Well, that will make a good segment just now.
All right.
That's what you just said.
All right, guys. Have a good weekend.
Hey, thank you
Good
guys.
talking.
Looking forward to it. See you next week, Brock.
All right.
So.